Released 1.5 years after Silent Hill Mobile 2, Silent Hill Mobile 3 picks up right where it left off, I think. We're playing the same character, but the cliffhanger ending left his fate unclear, so because I don't know any better and the game isn't giving me any more, I'm just gonna assume that he passed out and woke up in this mansion. Oh yeah, this game takes place in a mansion, and it has more mysteries to uncover, but mainly revelations as the story comes to a close here. No to be continued, this is it. The honestly pretty satisfying finale where all remaining questions get answered, except for one. Apparently this takes place 40 years after the murders at the orphanage? What happened in the 10 years since the first game? When does the second game take place? Does this one really pick up right after the second one? I guess we'll never know. Starting the game, we get the best intro music yet. And in general, some okay sound design. It's mostly silent again, but we get some creepy sounds sometimes, but also some more annoying ones. It's not horrible and better than the first game, but I like the second game's sound design more. Anyway, after that first bit of music, we see that there is no tutorial this time. Guess they assumed that people would figure it out on their own, and honestly, it's not too hard to figure out. The design and UI were updated too, looking a bit more appropriate for a horror game now, but sacrificing some readability with that new font. And, probably the most important change, the on-screen arrow now moves faster. That must sound so random, but it makes navigation much smoother and backtracking, of which there is a lot if you don't know what to do, much less of a chore. Taking a look at the map, we immediately notice two things. One, nothing is marked on it. Neither your location, though it's pretty easy to see where you are, nor the status of the doors. And it stays this way for the entire game. Kind of a shame, seeing how the map is such an integral part of most Silent Hill games, including this one. It just feels like a bit of its identity was stripped away. And two, the elephant in the room. It doesn't look like a real map, more like a rough sketch you would make in Paint. And why are these dead ends a thing? There is literally nothing there. And why is the first floor split up like this? You can only access the left half with the stairs and the right half with the elevator from the second and third floor. That is so dumb. But at least every room is marked with something, unlike the second game, even if some aren't accessible, I guess. But really, this is supposed to be a mansion? I don't know. Map aside, the rooms themselves look really interesting, arguably the best designed rooms yet, but they are accompanied by some really bland and boring hallways. What is this series' problem with hallways? And you know what the worst thing is? The other world. The hallways are the exact same as in the normal world, and the differences in the rooms are really small, like blood on the walls. That was so disappointing. The first game had an amazing looking otherworld that felt incredibly faithful to the main games, and the second game's otherworld at least had some amazing looking rooms, but this one has nothing. Such a shame. The only real positive here, and it's a pretty big one, is that it always felt natural, never like a puzzle device, despite the switch happening manually again, with a symbol that I've never seen before. I love that. Overall, this game feels like a true finale. There are less puzzles than in the second one, and they're often really simple. Instead, we get more combat, with completely random feeling monster encounters, several monster designs, and a proper final boss. Pretty good for such a short game. It being less puzzle heavy and more focused on telling the end of the story and on the combat really makes it feel climatic at times. That, combined with the interesting story, twists, and surprising conclusion, makes for a really good final chapter. If you look stuff up, that is. Which I did. But if you don't, I wouldn't be surprised if you spend way too much time just mindlessly going through the rooms, because the game can be really bad at communicating what you have to do. So playing it without a guide would have made it pretty miserable, not gonna lie. But as is, it was a pretty enjoyable experience, with a length somewhere between the first two games, and I definitely liked it more than the second one. But the otherworld looks extremely lazy, and I like the first game's setting more. A mansion is cool, but an orphanage is just special, if you know what I mean. The map looked better in the first one, and I preferred the simple but mysterious story, which by now is still interesting, but neither simple nor mysterious. So my ranking would be Silent Hill Mobile 2 at the bottom, Mobile 3 in the middle, and Orphan on top.